welcome to Sports 9. This is Megha and with me I have my colleague Abhishek. So the FIFA World Cup final is over. Argentina beat France in one of the most thrilling finals you can ever see. India is all set to play Bangladesh in the second test match of the series in 2 days time. But guess what? All the focus is on the IPL mini auction that is all set to be held in Kochi on December 23rd. So, we know how big a tournament IPL is, and even though this is a mini auction, the last auction was the last big auction that was to be held, and this is the mini auction, but the excitement around it is nowhere less. So, both of us are going to give you some tidbits about the auction that is going to be held in 3 days' time. So, Abhishek, what are your expectations from the auction this time?
The expectations are pretty big because there are a lot of stars, even though there are very less players available. I mean, 87 slots to be filled, 405 players who are going to be sold, out of which 132 are overseas. So there are many stars in there. Ben Stokes is there. Sam Curran is going to, going to spark a bidding war, it seems. Cameron Green is there. So a lot of big names. So obviously, all teams would be looking to get those big names in. Also, focus would be on domestic stars who recently performed in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy and all that. So obviously, we'll have a lot of action. So let's see how it goes.
So, as you spoke about Sam Curran and Ben Stokes, so we know Sam Curran was released the earlier year because he had an injury and CSK couldn't retain him for that. So, coming back this year on the back of a T20 World Cup where he was the best player of the tournament also, what are you expecting? Will CSK go all out, or will it be just CSK who are going to go all out, or there will be other teams in the run as well?
I think CSK is definitely going to go all out for Sam Curran. First things first, CSK is a very close-knit team. They really love their players. They like to have them back. So obviously they'll go all out for Sam Curran. They went all out for Faf du Plessis, pulled out at the last moment because they realized the budget seemed to be overcrossing the line which they had set. But then Sam Curran is gives a different dynamic to the team because they don't have Dwayne Bravo. They are not going to have Dwayne Bravo next year, so obviously they need a quality replacement. And who else than Sam Curran, who already knows the team, who has worked under MS Dhoni, worked with Stephen Fleming, has done well for CSK and has improved his bowling to an extent that he can be called a bowling all-rounder, and he gives CSK that that depth in the middle order. He can play handy knocks there. He's a left armer, that's a plus. He is a good death bowler as per his performances in the T20 World Cup recently. So Sam Curran is definitely going to be a huge target for CSK, and they'll go all out after him. But then Sam Curran is someone who a lot of teams will be looking at because he is an all-rounder, and the demands for all-rounder is never going to be less in a tournament like IPL, where we value 3D players, as they call them, or players who can bat, bowl and field well. So Sam Curran is right there at the top with someone like Ben Stokes, his England teammate. So I think Sam Curran is maybe he finishes in the top 3 most expensive players will go in this auction. So I am backing him to be in that top 3 bracket, top 3 most expensive ones. Definitely CSK will go all out for him. Mumbai Indians might target him because I think they have him for their South Africa franchise as well. So that's one thing as well. Mumbai Indians and Sunrisers, because they have a huge purse. They won't like to miss out on someone of the caliber of Sam Curran. So obviously he is going to trigger a bidding war. Let's see how much he fetches in the auction.
So speaking of Sunrisers Hyderabad, like you just said, they have the most purse. The last 2 auctions we saw, they try and give their best at the auctions, but then coming into the results, they do not perform as much as is expected of a squad they build. By the end of the auction, we are kind of made to believe that okay, they could have done much better with that amount of purse, but they are somewhere settling for less. So what do you expect of that team from this auction?
Yeah, Sunrisers Hyderabad have a history of making changes in their dugout also. Tom Moody was there, then there was a change in the head coach who was changed. Now Kane Williamson has been let go of. Last auction it was David Warner, who was a big name, who was released by Sunrisers Hyderabad. It's one franchise which always focuses on getting the best bowlers in and then building the team around them. So kind of the same strategy they have retained Natarajan, who's going to come back, hopefully going to, he'll have a point to prove because he'll want to play for India again. He's not been in the scenario for a while now, so he'll want to make a comeback with a strong performance in the IPL. Also, Bhuvneshwar is already there. They have a good, a decent pace attack. They need a captain, obviously. Kane Williamson has to be replaced. That's a big task. And when you look at the sort of options available in the auction pool right now, there are not too many leaders. That's one reason why Punjab Kings opted for Shikhar Dhawan to lead them, because there are not too many good leaders available in that pool. So obviously to replace Kane Williamson will be high on their agenda, to find someone who can continue that legacy. They haven't won a title since 2016, which was David Warner's first triumph as captain. So yeah, to replace someone like Williamson will be high on priority, and to get good all-rounders will also be there, because they managed to pick good all-rounders, but then injury issues and inconsistencies, all these results in them failing to capitalize with a sort of squad depth they build. So obviously they will be looking to have good all-rounders, reliable ones, not injury prone ones, so they can build on them and they can have a good performance. Also, they'll be looking for a turnaround, because they have been missing out on playoffs for a while now. So yeah, that'll be one of their targets, to at least make it to the playoffs and then continue from there how it goes. So yeah, let's see how they go about it.
So like you spoke about Natarajan, he will be making a comeback after a long time away due to injury. So there are 273 players Indian players who will be up for this auction. So some players like Mayank Agarwal, who was replaced by Shikhar Dhawan in the Punjab Kings team, and he was also released by the Punjab Kings team. Or someone like a Manish Pandey, whose stakes have gone down really low, from a time where he was considered as a really good middle order batter to now where he is not much in the scene. He just plays for his domestic team. He has gone out of equation for the Indian team for a long time right now. So where do you see these players, someone like a Mayank or a Manish Pandey, going? Which teams might just bid for them, if not all of them?
I think when you look at the options we have in the middle order, where Mayank can bat in the middle order, he can bat in the top order as well, which he prefers to bat. He prefers to open, since he has opened for a while now. But he would be a good addition to any team in the middle order. Manish is a middle order. Both of them will have a point to prove, especially Mayank Agarwal, because he has been released as a captain. After KL Rahul, he got a season to lead. He was backed by the team management. The team couldn't perform well, but then obviously affects the confidence of a player, but also gives them motivation to perform well and come out stronger in the next season. So at least they can show their former team that they still have it in them to add quality to a squad and be a leader in that squad. So obviously Mayank will have a point to prove, and there are a lot of teams who will be looking for Indian middle order batters who are experienced, reliable, and can switch roles, like can play an aggressor and can also rotate strike well in the middle. So Mayank would be high on the list of many teams who are looking for a middle order batter, especially CSK, who have let go of Robin Uthappa. They have an aging Ambati Raidu in their squad. Someone like Mayank Agarwal, according to me, fits well in the CSK squad, because he brings in depth in that middle order, which seriously lacks firepower. Yeah, especially if your top order is not performing. If Ruturaj Gaikwad or Devon Conway fail to perform, or are not delivering at the same consistency that you expect them to, then obviously someone like Mayank Agarwal can be a good number 3. He can give you stability in that middle order and can also attack when you need that sort of a role from him. So obviously he'll be high on the list of many teams. Manish Pandey as well. Gautam Gambhir has a close connection with Manish Pandey. That's why he took him to Lucknow Super Giants. Obviously we know that he won 2 titles for KKR under Gambhir. So they had that trust in them, and they had a good camaraderie also. And last season it was quite evident. But then Manish Pandey was released because he couldn't perform as per the expectations. Obviously, he has not been in the India reckoning for a while now. He also has a point to prove, and also then again there are a very few Indian experienced middle order batters available in that pool. So obviously I think there will be some buyer for Manish Pandey who, I mean, because there are a lot of teams who would need good, reliable middle order batters, and someone like Manish Pandey, you can take a bet on him considering considering the amount of experience he has behind his back. He has also won titles. He has led Karnataka in the domestic circuit, so obviously you'll have a leader in your team. So I think both of them can be good additions to any squad.
Last year we saw CSK and MI, the two most successful teams of the tournament. They had probably their worst seasons. If
Right.
CSK have now endured that 2 seasons very soon, and MI haven't had this bad a run since a long time. So they have retained their basic core, both of them. Mumbai retained someone like an Ishan Kishan, whom they gave so much money. He couldn't perform as much expected from him. But now, right now, he looks really in touch. He has scored a 200, a double ton in ODIs. So he looks in touch. Both of the teams have their core intact. So what are those 2 or 3 things lacking, which those two big teams would go like to aim at the auction so that they can make amends for the last 2 seasons?
I think Mumbai Indians really had a poor season, and someone like Ishan Kishan being in form is a huge boost to them because they have invested a lot in him. They probably see him as a captaincy contender as well, especially after letting go of Hardik Pandya, who should have ideally been the successor of Rohit Sharma. But then Ishan Kishan, currently in that team, along with Jasprit Bumrah, is one of the top contenders to lead that team in the future. Obviously, him being in good form keeps Mumbai in a good stead. Also, having Jofra Archer back will be a huge boost for them. They'll have someone to partner Jasprit Bumrah, and they can use them both in the death overs and use them well with the new ball as well. So yeah, that's a huge boost. So that puts Mumbai Indians in a good stead. But also they would need to reinforce their middle order, which lacks a bit of firepower there because they have let go of Kieron Pollard, who's obviously a legend. There's no Hardik Pandya anymore there. Also, there is no Daniel Sams this time. So obviously they'll probably go for maybe they can go for a good Indian middle order batter, a young domestic star, and they can also look for a good all-rounder who can bat in the middle and give them that obviously they'll need to replace Pollard. If they can get a like-to-like replacement for Pollard, which can either be Ben Stokes, Sam Curran or Cameron Green, these three are the big names in there. So Mumbai would probably go all out for one of them at least to have a direct replacement for Pollard, and then from there they can think about a middle order batter. Also, they would need to get an Indian pacer in because they had Jaydev Unadkat, they had Basil Thampi who they released. So these two pacers have been let go of. Also, Timal Mills was there. He has also been released. So they at least need one quality Indian or overseas pacer who can like partner Bumrah and Archer in that attack, because previously they had Trent Bolt, Bumrah, and so they had they had a decent pace partnership which worked well for them. They won the title. So obviously they won the title in 2020, I guess. Yeah, 2020. So yeah. So they'll go for a quality fast bowler because they need that in that, and also a prominent Indian spinner is required. Murugan Ashwin was there; he was released. Mayank Markande has also been released. So yeah, so they can probably target a good Indian spinner. Albeit there are not many options available in the pool, but they'll still need a good Indian spinner. So they can target that. Talking about CSK, we have a perfect opening partnership in Devon Conway and Ruturaj Gaikwad. They need to replace Robin Uthappa. They need a middle order batter, which I talked about. Mayank Agarwal can be one of the contenders to replace Uthappa in that lineup. Also, they'll need a like-to-like replacement for Dwayne Bravo, who has been their best bowler for a while. I mean, for a good 5-6 years, he was their best bowler. Dhoni used him so wisely in the death overs. So someone who can bowl in the death would be high on CSK's priority list, and someone who can bat like Bravo, you can give them a good few handy knocks in the lower middle order. Again, if you talk about contenders who can replace Bravo in the CSK team, you have Karan, you have Green, and you have Stokes. So one of those three would be high on CSK's list as well. There will be they'll target a middle order batter, and they'll also go for a quality overseas pacer since they have let go of both Chris Jordan and Adam Milne. They have Patirana, who is young, who is not who is yet to yet to yet to attain that maturity level to perform consistently at that level. So obviously they'll go for an experienced overseas pacers. There are not too many options again. Riley Meredith is there, Andrew Ty is there, so obviously they'll target an overseas pacer, and they'll go for a good all-rounder.
So last but not the least, speaking of Kane Williamson, so he had led the Sunrisers when David Warner was sitting out due to his suspension, and even when David Warner changed teams, we went to Delhi Capitals. Kane Williamson was the obvious replacement as a captain. Now he has been through a torrid run. He hasn't had scored many runs, as we have seen. Also, he's having a constant problem with his elbow. So being released, he is a good captain. He definitely is a good captain. He has been brilliant for New Zealand. But looking at this situation where he is not a surety of most of the time, he has also pulled out of the Pakistan series that the New Zealand team is supposed to play from Boxing Day. And so how are teams going to approach someone who has quality, who has caliber, who has experience of so many years, but is not always a surety in your playing 11?
True, availability is a huge factor when it comes to IPL auctions. A good few big names have not been picked in the auction just because they were not available for full season, or they're injury prone, or there is doubt regarding their fitness. So Williamson currently falls in that category, but I'm sure franchises would make a contact with him and would have a conversation with him, whether he'll be available for full season, what is his current fitness level, and what are his plans of playing, I mean how he wants to go about the season. So obviously Williamson is definitely one of those players who can lead any team in the IPL, and there are a good few teams who are looking for a leader in their squad, CSK included, because probably this is going to be MS Dhoni's last season. There was a time when Kane Williamson was wanted a lot by CSK fans. I remember like a couple of seasons back, and I'm sure they still want him, but since they have only 2 overseas slots left, it will be a bit tricky for CSK whether they want to go for Williamson and get an all-rounder, or whether they want to get an overseas pacer in and get someone like a Sam Curran or a Ben Stokes to directly replace Dwayne Bravo. So that's tricky. Sunrisers are not in for him because they have already released him. Which other team needs a captain? I think Kings 11 Punjab Punjab Kings can get Williamson, because Dhawan is there, but still again Dhawan is not there for 3, 4, 5 years. They'll need to replace him as captain in a couple of seasons. So Williamson can be a decent buy for them. He can add depth to their middle order, can be a leader in the side. Punjab definitely lack leaders in their team, and they haven't won the title yet. So obviously someone like Williamson will be a quality addition. Also the likes of Delhi Capitals can look at someone like Williamson, because if Rishabh Pant is not performing, if there is pressure on him, with David Warner also there, someone like Williamson adds more
Fire to the
more fire to that batting lineup. So yeah, Williamson is going to definitely be in high demand. Even if like he's not available for the full season, even if there are doubts on his fitness, one season can be compromised for a player like Williamson's caliber, because franchises will also look at the future and what he can bring in the seasons to come.
Okay, so there are a lot of players who will be up for the auction, and it's really not possible to discuss, every one of them. 405 is a huge number. So the auction is all set to be held in Kochi on December 23rd, just 3 days away from now. We will join you with more content on IPL, and not just IPL. Even if the FIFA World Cup is over, we have more content coming on all sports on Sports 9. So stay tuned and do subscribe to our channel. Thank you.